Lesson 44 is about abstract rate problems and begins on page 315. So once again, it's a word problem, so strike against it. And then abstract, meaning pretty much everything given to you is in letters, becomes the second strike against it, in which students don't like these. However, they follow the exact rules you've been doing and you should be feeling more comfortable with. So let's jump straight into example 1. Peter purchased P pencils for $D. Okay, so what's the basic idea here? The rate that I'm purchasing an item times however many items that is should tell me how much money I'm spending. So now that I understand the basics, and shopping should help you understand that. Peter purchased P pencils, that's his number of items, for $D. That's the amount of money that he's spending. So what they didn't tell me was what that rate for those pencils are. So I could solve that and get that that's D over P. Okay. If P pencils had cost X more dollars, so now my dollars is the original plus the X more, that's a unit stuck to itself. How many pencils, how many items can he purchase for $20? Just a second. I feel like my D plus X is in the wrong spot. I solve for the rate. If P pencils had cost X more dollars, this was the rate. No, I do have a problem here. Because this was my cost per pencil. What that sentence tried to tell me was it's costing this plus X more. Oh, you can see why we don't necessarily always love these. Yes, okay, plus X more. All right, I feel like we're on track now, because it wants to know how many items can he buy for $20. And my rate is this new and adjusted one, D over P plus X unit, multiplying with how many items that I can get for $20. Okay, so now we're solving for the I. So this implies 20 over 1. Before I can flip this, it needs to be one fraction. So that needs a common denominator. If I put a P in the denominator, I have to put a P in the numerator to balance it. So D plus XP all over P with my items equals this 20 over 1. So now I'm going to flip when I divide, and that puts it P over D plus XP. So my items equal 20P are my numerators. 1 times that doesn't change the denominator, so D plus XP. Word problem always has a labeling answer. Now let me check and see, are we where they want? 20P over D plus X. Whoa. How did I end up with an extra P? Okay, let me pause and figure out why I have an extra P. Found it. It was the same place that was causing me fits before. I almost feel like I need to restart this problem. When it said I had X more added to, it was just this D. So this was D plus X, not here. Therefore, I already had my common denominator because it's just one fraction. When I flip that, okay, so this should just say D plus X. See, there's that extra P going away. Yes, items equals this. Flipped, this didn't exist because it was P over D plus X, 20 times P, and 1 times this does not have this. Now I'm matching their 20P over D plus X pencils. All right, let's see if we can do example 2 without having a problem. Okay, the coach purchased B basketballs amount of items for X dollars, amount of money, don't know the rate. Rate solves to X over B. If each basketball had cost $3 less, my rate is this fraction and it is now going to cost 3 less. That is this minus 3 as a unit. So if I want to give that a common denominator, that's minus 3b all over b. So this is my rate. How many basketballs, how many items can I purchase for $200? I feel like this one's going better. Then it's already a fraction, flip and multiply. So the items equal 200 implied over 1 times b over x minus 3b. So 200b over x minus 3b. It was basketballs, but I'm checking my answer first. Yes, basketballs for the answer. So even though I said these typically don't have numbers, it doesn't mean they can't have any, but they're mostly in letters, and that's what makes them feel a little bit more complicated. Okay, 2 more examples. On an assembly line, M workers worked H hours and produced C articles. Now I've added people into this, just like we did before. So rate times items times people equals the jobs that they can get done. M workers, people, H hours. Oh, let's change items to time, rate times time. So M with H with C articles produced. Again, I don't know the rate, but we can solve for the rate. It's C over HM. If D workers quit, people were M, so now it's M minus D people. How many hours, solving for time, would the remaining workers have to work to produce the same number of articles? So we still want to produce C, and the rate is C over HM. And how long will it take them? All right, so since I'm solving for T, these two are going to multiply together. That's going to give me, I'm going to go ahead and distribute that. CM minus CD over HM with the T equals C over 1 implied. Flip and multiply. HM CM minus CD. I'm going to guess that they kept that with the parenthesis, but it's okay. Time equals CHM for the numerator, and then CM minus CD remains for the denominator. I'm looking for their final answer. Now, before I box this, I always check to see, is there anything that's the same in all the parts? Ah, yes, a C. So I can kill off the C's, keeping HM in the numerator and M minus D. So actually distributing it was helpful there. Yep, MH. Okay, now they just flipped the order of things, but time is in hours, so there's that answer. Final example. Charles had P pounds of food that would feed M workers for D days. Okay, we don't know the rate. Feeds M workers for D days, and it had P pounds. Okay, so we can solve for our rate, P over MD. Okay, then 30 more workers showed up. So my people was D. Now we have D plus 30. Our rate is the P over MD. How long will the food, I don't know the time, will feed? Just a second, M plus 30. Did I pull the wrong letter? Oh, I thought D was my people. Oh, no, I wrote that backwards. That's how I flip-flop that. Okay, D days, this should have been my time. I like to keep it in order, M people. That's how I flip-flop that. So it's the same solution here, but this should be M plus 30 because M was my people. Okay, now triple check that again before we move on. How long would the food? So it's the same amount of poundage. I did not change that. Okay, solving for T. So again, distribute P times M, 30P all over MD. We have our T equals implied P over 1. Flip this to MD over PM plus 30P. And put that together. PMD over time equals PMD over PM plus 30P. Do I share anything? Yes, a P. Goodbye, P's. So MD over M plus 30. Time was in days. Checking my answer. MD. Yep, days. And there we go. So one of the tricky things, and even I had trouble with it a couple times obviously in here, is just being really careful with how you're labeling all of those parts.